Welcome to BGP. Today we are discussing Cassandra Elizabeth Ventura, better known as Cassie. Cassie is a singer, dancer, producer, actress, all in one, who got her fame for the hit single Me and You. Um, After that single kind of, topped the charts, Diddy took a liking to her and eventually convinced her to sign with Bad Boy. Well, 2 years after signing with Bad Boy, um, they would start dating. He would, kind of convince her to leave her current boyfriend at the time for Diddy. Fast forward to 2023, a bombshell happened on November the 16th. November 16th, um, a lawsuit was filed, a federal civil lawsuit was filed by Cassie and her team, accusing Diddy of domestic violence, SA, as well as trafficking. Um, there wasn't an amount that was disclosed or requested on her team, but some would speculate based off of Diddy's team that it was over 30 million that she was requesting. Again, it was neither proven. Her attorney disputed that and said that they wanted to offer her an eight-figure amount 6 months prior to her filing because she was going to write a tell-all book, and she declined it. Mind you, we have assault, a sexual assault, oh my gosh, a sexual assault survivors act in New York that was from November of 2022 to November of 2023. And you had that 1 year for any survivors of sexual assault to file civil charges against their abuser. So she did. The very next day after it came out and the claims and the that was listed on that complaint came out, the very next day, Diddy settled. They both came out with a statement and stated that, we amicably agree with the settlement and we just, I'm paraphrasing, want to put this behind us and move forward. And a lot of people was pissed. But before we get into that, I want to ask the ladies, what was your first thought when you heard about this suit? And I'll start with you, Adrian.
My first thought was another celebrity predator. That over and over again, time and time again, money allows these people that act in this way to get away with it. And I felt in my heart some kind of way it was gonna get drug out, and it was gonna be this long thing of trying to settle some other kind of way. And I was happy to see that it was quickly settled. However, I would have liked to not necessarily know more of the details, but I think it's an opportunity for others who may have been, and I see that's happening now, others who have been assaulted by him to come forward. And that's exactly what's happening. So I'm happy to see that justice is being served.
Okay.
Hmm.
What was your first thought, Mona?
Well, if you guys don't already know, I'm a Gemini. So it said that Geminis are two-faced. However, we actually deal with duality. So I have a personal opinion, and I kind of could understand when the people were saying, why did she wait so long? And then there's what you guys may call, or what you guys do call the young folks, is complicated. It was a personal side and it was a business side. And I can see why she filed her lawsuit.
Okay. So, when she initially filed her suit, because I want to quote her correctly, she made a statement and she said, "After years in silence and darkness, I am finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships." And so when she made that statement, I feel like a lot of women who experienced similar situations as her rallied behind her in hopes of, my impression of her standing up to her abuser. That's so when I heard it, I was like, ooh, um, I want to see let me read this complaint. Let me see how serious this complaint was. And then when I read the complaint, I was going back and forth with Mona. Like, Mona, did you read the complaint? Did you see what she said happened? Did you see? And she was like, yeah, I read the complaint. I'm like, okay. And so fast forward to me going on social media when this first came out, so many people was like, nah, that's real shit. It's a money grab. It's just for money. It's a money grab. It's a money grab. It's a money grab. And my response would be, did you read the complaint? Did you read the complaint? No, I didn't read the complaint. Read the complaint. Read it. Because it's very telling. It kind of explains, read it. And they're like, no, I don't have to read it. I know girls like her. I know how these women are. They just after the money. Why would you sit there and get your ass whooped by somebody? It's for the money. This is the price you pay for, getting lavish gifts, going on trips and all this. And I'm like, but did you read the complaint though? Because she expressed her thoughts on what happens when she was going on these trips. No, read the complaint. That would be my response. Read the complaint. So did either one of you actually take the time to read the complaints?
So actually, I did read the complaint twice. The first time I read it real quick because, oftentimes, things disappear. And when something disappears, people start putting their spin on it. They get to embellishing it. They get to leaving things out. They get to lying. So then I've sat down and I read it the next time. And I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And then Nisha did call me. And she was like, could you have endured all of that and waited 10 years to get paid? And what did I tell you?
Hell no.
I said, hell no. I couldn't have done it because I would have been the broke one. I couldn't have endured all of that. But however, I have to separate my personal integrity, which you might call it, or my characteristics, and kind of generalize it. And I'm going to say this. I don't know a black man in America that if someone accused him of all the things that were put in that 35-page complaint, which she was very, very detailed. She had receipts. She had witnesses. She named names that would settle if he did not do it. Now, I don't know if he did everything, but it was enough in that complaint that he said, pay the lady. And he paid the lady.
Let me take a deep breath because this is, it bothers me when people say stuff like, why did she wait so long? And I know some of it is just pure ignorance. People don't understand. But because I am a survivor of some of this stuff, I think I would be doing an injustice and not speaking up on behalf of victims right now. Because when there are times that, first of all, SA, I hate the fact that we put SA, call that shit what it is. It's sexual assault. And when we sit up here and we're judging basically because sometimes you don't have the courage to say what has happened. You start feeling like, oh, I made a poor decision. I wore the wrong outfit. I did the wrong thing. When in actuality, that person who has assaulted you is, they've planted the seed like you deserve it. It's all kind of stuff that has come behind it. So it really bothers me. And I say this all the time when I get an opportunity to speak on it. When you have not experienced a certain thing, you have to be very, very careful about how you speak about it because you have no idea. I've heard it over and over again. Oh, if that was me, I would have did this. And if that was me, I would have did that. You don't know what the fuck you would have did, really, to be quite honest. I was with a dude who had 15 guns in the house by the time he got arrested. And he was a 2-time felon with 2 strikes. So every time the police ever came to my house, which I did not call, next thing I look out the window, the police are leaving and he coming back in the house. So there's always that crippling fear that you have that if it don't quite go right, if I say something, I'm going to get got anyway. So we have to be very sensitive to victims because it's a way of almost re-victimizing them when we sit up and say stuff like, I would have did this and I would have did that, and you have no clue, or I wouldn't have waited this long. How many people, even in the Cosby situation, waited all this time to disclose that these things happened to them? Sexual assault, domestic violence are the two most underreported crimes in this nation. And we need to be mindful of that and be a little bit more sensitive.
Let me say this. I know personally that the music business is a cold-ass game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was most talented in my high school years. I did aspire to be an actress, a singer, and a dancer. And in the short time that I was in the music industry, I witnessed some things before, during, and after my release party that let me know I'm not going to be able to do it. I said no more than I said yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a time when I was to perform my one little single that I still got somewhere in the closet. And they assumed that I was going to wear something sexy. And when I showed up, they was like, okay, you got 10 minutes to change. And I'm like, I'm ready. And basically, I looked like a Muslim lady, except I didn't have my hair covered. And they were pissed off. And then there was a time when I went to my producer's house, and normally my ex would accompany me, but this time he couldn't. And there was a deadline. We were trying to get this single out. So I, a little girl from Compton, drove all the way to the Valley. So anybody that knows about LA, that's about an hour 45 minutes drive. Got there, and we started. I was sitting on the floor writing. We were trying to finish up this song, and all of a sudden he turned the music off, and he was like, I'm a Gemini and you're a Gemini, and you would be more creative if I tapped into your femininity. And I'm thinking to myself, did this fool just try to position to have sex with me? And mind you, he was a good 20 years older than me. And so I stood up and I said, let's discuss it. But let me go to the bathroom first. And I grabbed my keys and I grabbed my purse, and I did not go to the bathroom. I opened that front door very quietly, left his front door open, and kept it pushing. And the things that I witnessed that girls were doing, or they were trying to do, or they was expected to do, before even getting paid, before even getting a contract, I knew I couldn't do it, you know. So I do understand. Let's just fucking break it down. Cassie was 19 years old when she got with him.
That part.
He was 37 years old. And see, they always say, get you an older man. I thought an older man was supposed to be a place of peace, a place of safety, where he was supposed to elevate you, not humiliate you. And that's exactly what happened. And I could keep going, but that's something to say, Nisha.
Well, see, I wanted to go back and touch on what she said, which I agree. I do think that we downplay a lot the essay that happens. And I'm saying essay for reason being because I know that in social media streets that we like to, you know, do our videos for, you kind of get demonetized when you start to speak a certain way. So, but I say because I noticed that they do downplay it. Like we did an example, you know, the week that this came out, and we was hashtagging a lot of stuff, and including that. And as we was doing it that first day, we was getting thousands of hits on both videos that we was releasing. The very next day, it changed. Nothing. If you put that, and other content creators was speaking on it, the more you speak on SA, trafficking, Diddy, you were being hit with demonetization. Like they don't want to talk about it. It's kind of like they want it to just go away. And if you also notice within this past week too, notice you don't really hear about Diddy. Notice that the only thing that's happening is you might see some old videos coming about now, but nobody's new really talking about Diddy with the exception of 50. But I do agree with you that
50 is petty.
50 is very petty. But I do agree with you that if nobody's been in that position, it's very easy to say I would move like this or I would move like that. But when I think about Cassie's situation, as Mona pointed out, she was 19, he was 37. She wasn't the first young little girl that he was dealing with, but definitely not the last. But she was 19, so she She didn't know. I can only imagine at 19, you have someone the likes of Diddy, and you don't know his history that he's known for beating chicks. You don't know. But you like this man, Diddy, bad boy. Bad boy is at the top at that time, coming for you saying, I want to sign you, I want to give you a record deal. You excited. And you like, okay, I'm going to my mom. That Diddy wants to sign me. He wants to. Now, granted, that record deal was crazy, 10 albums, just crazy, but she signed it, and then he slowly started to phase out her then boyfriend and blackball him too, but phase him out and just put himself in that position, and so it was the way he made that happen. I see how she fell for it, in my opinion. And then the way that, for people to say, well, why didn't you just leave? Every time she tried to leave, he would have his people go retrieve her. He would have his people go find where she was, threaten her, and say, if you don't come back, things are going to be very bad for you and your family. And that was put in that complaint. So that, which is another reason why I said, when people were talking, I'm like, did you read it? Because she's specifying her reasoning for why she was there as long as she was. She tried to escape a few times, and he would have people to go follow her, find her, and get her to come back for some more ass whippings, you know? And so, as easy as it sounds to me, it doesn't sound like it's easy. It sounded like it was a very difficult experience that she had to endure. And the only way she was going to get out was either one, leave the country, or two, she might end up dead. That's how I saw it, you know?
Well, just to address the first thing that you said about using essay, I get it. I think it's another way of silencing us, another way of not having a voice. I think what it does is it keeps people more pushed under the rug, where they can't speak on what it really is. I think it's surviving something is what I came through, and I agreed to be an advocate and a voice for the voiceless. Sexual assault is exactly what the fuck it is. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna, bend to these rules and stuff, and somebody else die at the hands of somebody, or somebody else gets victimized because we can't really speak and say what the hell it is. It is what it is. And that's the biggest reason why things are as bad as they are now, because we don't speak on it. We don't talk about it. We don't talk to our kids about it. We don't speak on it enough. And it's happening over and over again. If the statistics, if I'm right, it's about 1 in 4 women are sexually assaulted or experience intimate partner violence. And I'm not trying to get on no huge, it just bothers me when we're still in 2023, we're still silencing people and allowing for people to be victimized because we can't say sexual assault. We have to say SA. That's some bullshit to me.
Well,
let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
When you're on a regular job with a regular company or corporation, they highly discourage employee and supervisor relationships because when it goes bad, it can be volatile. It can mess up the work place. And if you experience sexual harassment, bullying, verbal abuse, things of that nature, there's a department called HR that you can go to and file your grievances without being fired from your job. Who was the human resources for Cassie to go to complain? If he signed her, he was her employer. She was an employee. Who was she supposed to go to? Now, for us, they say if you can't work it out with your supervisor, then you go over him. Who was she supposed to go to? So I think that's one of the reasons why he settled so quickly, because she came for him and the corporation.
There you go. Yep.
We got a human resources problem.
We got an issue. Absolutely.
We got a problem here. And then it complicated it more because now you have become intimate with this young lady. Now, I don't know if you became intimate with her before she hit 21. Because if you did, we got another problem here. And see, here's the thing. when you're young and naive and you have this dream and
Mhm.
somebody says, I can make you a star,
Yep.
you believe it.
Yep.
This is an older man. This is an experienced man. He knows the right route to go, and he's not going to cause me any harm, and I'm going to believe him. But here's my thing. On the personal side, you cannot pull my hair, sock me in my eye, bust my mouth, my nose, leave your handprints around my neck, kick me, stomp me, trip me, hold me hostage after you beat my ass until I recover from the wounds that you imposed on me and I fucking stay. And I'm saying I don't fucking understand it, but I can empathize with it. And I'm saying to you young ladies that can get away with it one time, you not whooping my ass and calling it love. I don't give a damn. I'm not talking about the ladies that have been victimized before this, but in order for us to change this, your well-being, mentally, physically, and spiritually is priceless. I told Nisha, fuck singing. I'd be gone. Or I'd have to find me a Suge Knight so he can go over there and get my contract. Secondly, signing for 10 years, a 10-year deal, that was her first mistake.
Yeah.
If you want to get in this entertainment business, you need to get some people outside that have your best interests at heart. That's sitting here while you are giddy, and ready to go. That's like, nah, we're not signing 10 years or 10 album deal. She only made one album.
Yeah.
One studio album with him. She made like 20 different singles.
Yeah.
Nigga, you breached contract.
Mm-hmm.
You breached the contract. Mm-hmm. You slept with your freaking employee. You was all out of line. So he dicking her down. She pillow talking with her. She believing everything this nigga said. There are people out here that says that she lived a 1%er life. Or had a 1%er lifestyle. She got to travel, she got the cars, she got the money, she got the shopping sprees, and that's true. However, that's why when you on the outside looking in, you never be envious or jealous of what people got and what people are doing because you do not know the price that they are having to pay to look like she was looking. She was on the red carpet, she dressed well and everything. Y'all don't know the price that young lady had to pay. And I agree with Adrian, we have to empathize. Me, I could, and I'm talking about me personally. Baby, y'all would have had that first time, because that was out of my control. Y'all would have had to send me a box. I ain't going to incriminate myself on this YouTube channel. But I wasn't raised to get my ass kicked.
Neither was
and I'm talking to young ladies right now. Once that happens to you, you can't get it back. What's the price of somebody's pain? 10 million, 20 million, 30 million? Who are you to judge what that price is?
So I will say I'm in agreement. I'm a quick learner. You only got to show me one time your actions and how you move. So if you touch me once, that'll be the last time you touch me. You know, I'm not going back for seconds and thirds and fourths. I'm not going back for that. That's not how I was raised. I was raised by men that treated women with respect. They didn't put their hands on her. My daddy didn't do it. So why am I going to allow somebody else to do it? However, and I'm not making excuses, however, when I look at her situation and I compare it to a lot of stories I've heard from other women, a lot of times was her similarity to a lot of other victims. Young girl, naive girl interacting with older man. Mm-hmm. And then when I think about how a lot of older men are on these social media platforms encouraging older men to get with young girls fresh out of high school, sometimes not even out of high school yet, it's disturbing. It's also very easy for a lot of them to fall into that trap of this must be love. This must be what this was what it means, you know? And so, yes, she went on trips. Yes, she probably got gifts. But those was, I fucked up, I fucked you up, so here's a gift. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not that she was able to really enjoy. The girl tried, she cried for help. She made a post where she was crying for help years ago, and it's out now, where she's like, yeah, went on an ATV, rode on an ATV and had, and you know, slipped and fell, but had an amazing time in Dubai. And you look at her and her lip is busted, her nose is to the left, she has on dark glasses. I've ridden ATVs. You could slip and fall. That don't give you a black eye. It don't, you know. She was crying. She was trying to get help. She was trying to get out at different times. She was going to different friends for help. And he was threatening the friends. He blew up someone he thought she was trying to entertain a relationship with. He thought. She blew up his vehicle. Blew it up. And that man was like, yep, he did it. Because it was in the complaint. He did it. He hung somebody over a balcony, right? Because he didn't want her making music with anyone that he didn't approve of, that wasn't Diddy. So when she would try to sneak to make music because she wanted to get them albums done, he came in, showed up, and had that man over a balcony hanging. Like I didn't want you interacting. I told you, nobody is to be around her. Nobody.
Yeah, everybody in the industry basically knew that when Cassie came on the set, don't look at her, don't talk to her too much. And they said they would be in there, and all of a sudden a group would come in and they would be dressed in black, and you look up and it was Diddy.
And it's Diddy. So it's like, again, for those that question, imagine her starting off at 19 and going through her prime years, going through that. It's as a woman that's in her late 30s, a woman in her 40s, 50s, 60s, it's very easy to say, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not tolerating that. I wouldn't do that. That's a no for me. It's real easy to say that. But for somebody that's young, I can't say that. We always say, even when it comes to men saying they want to date someone that's extremely young, that's 19, 20, 21, 20s, we always say those are babies. They still figuring themselves out. They still got to learn who they are. So imagine at 19 or 20, they learning to get their ass whooped.
Most predators like that, they can spot who they can get away with that kind of shit with without even them saying too many words. There's a grooming process that happens that he got her at the perfect time. You're 19, you're naive, you don't know nothing about the business that you're trying to get into. So he's feeding her this bullshit all the time. You begin to believe whatever he says. You begin to come numb to everything he starts doing. You begin to be embarrassed of what's happening, and you don't want to share that you fell for the bullshit. So you stay and you stay and you think it's going to get better, but it continues to get worse. So it's a difficult place to be when you, and I neither was raised that way. I didn't see my mama whoop on my daddy whoop on my mama. I didn't. But I was getting my ass kicked on a regular, but I fought back. And so I thought that was something different because I was fighting back. I was still no match to this man. But the thing is, we have to understand, nobody, because I used to hear that thing, and I was probably guilty of saying it too. Oh, she must like getting her ass whooped. She stay with this nigga. Oh, she gets the perks of this, that, and the other. Nobody likes getting their ass whooped. The end of the day, don't nobody want a black eye and a busted lip and looking crazy and looking like a fool. Nobody wants that. It's a place that you get to where you become so numb that you don't know what move to make. If I go this way, this is going to happen. If I go this way, that's going to happen. So you try to throw out those subs to different people. You know, for me, it was one time I called the sheriff's station on the We Tip hotline that they used to have back in the day. Nobody ever showed up. I'm telling them exactly what's happening, and nobody ever showed up. So I give kudos to you two ladies that say in a situation like that, you would have did whoop-de-whoop, because that's what I thought. I'll kill a nigga, he put his hands on me. But I didn't do that. So I'm just saying that to say for my sisters out there who might find themselves caught up in that situation, don't feel like you are less than because you didn't report it immediately. Don't feel like you are less than because you didn't say what you felt to get out of it. You didn't know. You didn't know. It ain't your fault still. Maybe you stayed too long. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, shit, I mean, god dang.
Here's the thing. SA don't have no age.
Right.
Oh, 60, 70-year-old women are getting their butts kicked.
True.
It doesn't have an age. Nobody has a right to put their hands on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has a right to beat the hell out of anybody. You are not freaking God. And I think this, when you come for my face, I think you hate me. I think you despise me. I think you're trying to ruin me. So that's why I'm like, don't go to sleep, brother, because I'm going to get you back. It might not be today. It might not be next week. It might not be next year. But keep your eyes open because I'm coming. My thing is, the people that are coming out, they were the enablers. There's his bodyguard. There's 50 Cent releasing videos. There's a video showing her in a blanket.
Mm-hmm.
And she don't want to come outside the blanket. There's people that said that they saw her getting her butt kicked. They tried to stop it. But nobody reported him because they wanted the money. They were in those positions. And so I'm side-eyeing the ones that are saying, oh, yeah, I seen it. Oh, yeah, I did. Y'all let this young lady become ruined. See, on the business side of it, whatever I did, and I'm not sucking a bunch of penises that I don't know. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But whatever I did that maybe got me to my first album, it wasn't going to happen for the second album. See, I would have been like, where's the second album at? You want me to do A, B, C, and D, but you're not fulfilling your obligation. That's why I'm kind of saying I'm not understanding. But when you so in love with a person, the lines are blurred. I don't know.
So I'll say this again. I don't victim blame, just so we clear. I don't. But I do make sure that I move differently. That's just who I am. But I can also empathize with women's experiences in this so-called dating world, right? The bodyguard that she's listed in the complaint, who was the head of security, he did intervene a few times. And like he said recently, before he stopped talking, he tried to report it. He was fired. The other bodyguard that's also now, who's been giving interviews for years prior to this coming out, but giving interviews, also intervened. And he was jumped at one point by his other goons that intervened. Her mother, same thing. Cassie, come home. Stay home. Know what happened? Knock, knock, knock. Diddy's not himself. He needs you to get back. Please, he's going to go crazy. This going to make it worse. So it's easy to say that some people were enablers, but there's some that tried to do something about it. But we can't forget that man has power. He had power. This is why Pac, 50, and some other people were saying that Diddy had the police on his payroll. So if you got the police on your payroll, meaning you can make some shit go away, meaning she got her ass whooped in LA at one of these hotels, and he was so bold, he did this shit outside of the room when she was trying to get away and beat the shit out of her. You know what he did? With his power, paid for the videos to disappear. That's how much power he has. So if you're dealing with someone that has that kind of power, it's not going to be as easy as a no-name person that put his hands on you, and I'm not excusing abuse from abuse, but a no-name person that put his hands on you and you just disappear and move to a different city.
And I could rock with you on that, because there's niggas out here that ain't got no money, that's stalking women, that's abusing
Correct.
women. So for people to say, oh, I don't understand, yes, you do.
Yeah.
Because like Nisha said, he was paying off for footage, and he also broke the HIPAA law.
Correct.
Because he was getting her freaking medical records
Sent to
before
him.
she got the medical records.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't her spouse. He didn't have rights to that. So he was a powerful man.
Very.
They said that in the complaint that he was retrieving her text messages.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he
Power and control.
was hooked up.
Yeah, power.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just imagine somebody being able to subpoena records or subpoena your personal information because, like she said in her complaint, she would delete stuff and he would have it on his phone.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you thought you deleted it? I got it. It's right here.
Wow.
So imagine that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And people are saying, oh, you should have just left. It was never easy for her.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't.
And you start thinking your sanity. You start questioning your own sanity. Like, am I crazy? Like, it's that whole gaslighting thing that begins to happen. SANDV is all about power and control. The abusive person is usually the more powerful one. In Diddy's case, he's like on a whole different level. And he was controlling her like a puppet. She
Mhm.
couldn't do anything. And I just feel sorry for her. And I'm glad that she got, I say, if she didn't want to end up displaying all this stuff and she had to hit that nigga's pockets, that's exactly what she did. And now everybody else gonna hit them pockets too.
See,
Consequence.
I can't say, now I done got socked a couple of times. I done got socked up helping people that men are socking on.
Mhm.
Friends and people that I did not know. And why am I saying this? So I'm not sitting up here trying to be a prude or being, self-righteous. But see, if a man put his hands on you, don't call me
Mhm.
because we riding. And me and my girls have rid before. I ain't gonna tell you what we did because I'm not gonna incriminate myself. But you're not gonna put your hands on nobody. But see, they do isolate you.
Yes.
They do make you think ain't nobody gonna do more for you. Your family don't love you. Look all this stuff I'm doing to. But if you call Mona Lachey, we riding. And the next day you might hear, oh, Jimmy got beat up last night. You be like, for real? And it was us. So I'm saying that when you get into this industry, do your research.
Mm-hmm.
Know your business. Have your boundaries. I didn't come here to sleep with you, brother. I came here to sing. I didn't come here to put my body on display. I came here to sing. And you need to keep those boundaries. And you, like I say, you need to have people around you so they can't manipulate you. Because, like Adrian say, a manipulator knows how to manipulate a person.
Mhm.
And if you about this business, when you look at a Nisha Williams, the singer, and look at her story, you can see what happened here. You can see the things or the intricacies that happen to women in the industry. And those are the things that you're supposed to be looking out for so that you don't get caught up. She gave that nigga 11 years of her life.
Mm.
Her pride.
He tormented her. He exploited her. He trafficked her. I don't know for how many years. Would you want that to happen to your daughter? See, we do things and we know we wouldn't want it done to us. What can she do? Now, some people were saying like she should have went to trial. So y'all really want this young lady that's tried to get over this to relive this?
Mm.
Because right now, there's only a small percentage of people that know about this. When you take it to the TV and to the media, because you know they're going to put it on TV, now millions of people are going to see this. And how does she go on with her life? How does she get over this? She got to replay this in public. Things that she's replaying over and over again. Things that are triggering her over and over again in public that we can't imagine how she's still making it, how she's still here. I can't imagine how Adrian is still here after she went through what she went through, whether it was her fault or not, whether she stayed or not, whether she was naive or not, whether she was stigmatized or not. That man had no right to impose the violence that he imposed on her. Y'all need to read Adrian's book. It's called Stabbed to Life. It's a page turner, and I was mad at you. I laughed. I cried. I was like, hell no. And it couldn't have been me, but I can't be mad at her. And that's what they also prey on, that you ain't going to say nothing. Because here's a book, here's a purse, here's some shoes, here's this car you rolling in. And you rather get your ass beat by somebody with some money than you would with somebody that's broke.
Mm.
And that's our problem. What else we got?
I'm like, because we didn't get to touch on the traffic part, because that was the other part that she laid out, was that she was being trafficked. So not only was she being abused, and the assault happened towards the end of the relationship, but she was being trafficked throughout the relationship. He was flying her to different places and setting her up to have sex with
the FOs, the freak out party.
Yes, with the other men while he watched.
Yeah, he had
and
her.
direct her like he's a director.
He had her actually picking out the men, going online to find the men. So I guess if it tracked it back, it would track it back to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she would pick the men. And it said they were all in masks. And he would direct them. And they would do what they do. And he would film and self-pleasure himself. He's a freak. He's a nasty old man.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he drugged her.
Mm.
Yeah. Like that started from the very beginning, was that he had her take a drug, and her life was messed up after all that because he kept her drugged up throughout the whole relationship. And he was doing it too. And the way he would cover up for it so people wouldn't know was he would have the drugs prescribed to her, and then he would go through that way because he didn't want anyone to know that he was an addict. But Diddy got issues.
Yeah, he do.
I mean, and it's not just Cassie that got her ass beat.
Mm-hmm.
Kim got her ass beat. Misa got her ass beat.
The other
Win got her ass beat. Like every woman that he's encountered. Like one of them was speaking on it a few years ago, to Tasha K. She has said it, and people just swept it under the rug like it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's floating back up when she's like, yeah, he used to beat me. When he found out I was pregnant, he beat the shit out of me because I wouldn't have an abortion.
Mm.
You know? So
and Jaguar Wright has been talking about it for years, and they just think she's a crazy crackhead. So, they didn't listen to her.
Yeah, she said a lot, and that's people are starting to
go
take
back
a listen.
and find those videos.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to leave it right here because we can go on and on and on. Final thoughts.
This conversation was very deep. My final thought is just make sure your circle is somebody that you can trust, that would have the, not that I had people in my circle that really looked out, but I was just scared, in some situations. In other situations, I loved them and I really wanted things to work out. I thought I could fix it. And I know I'm embarrassed to even say that right now, especially because how the outcome was. But just to say to anybody that finds themselves in that situation, I know resources now. I didn't know them then. You know what I'm saying? When I was deep into it, I did not know. So if you find yourself in situations like this, seek help. I know you have to have a plan, because sometimes if you leave abruptly, that's when things get really, really bad. Because the people that do this, it's all about power and control. The minute they think they lose that power is when it's worse for you. Statistics say the two worst times for women when they are in an abusive relationship, one is when they are pregnant and the other is when they decide to leave. So just be mindful of that. If at any point there's anything that I can do to assist you, please reach out to me on any of my social media platforms, because I got a gang of resources. I got different ways that you can get up out of there. And again, make sure you have, especially if you're young in this business, have somebody to give you good advice, to direct you. It's so easy to get caught up in your feelings with a man that's so powerful and can, seem to give you the world. Maybe you didn't come from that. Just take care of yourself.
Mona?
Most of the time, if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. There is nothing materialistic that can replace the things that you will have to go through like Adrian said, get you some good people around you. And I guess I'm just a different woman. I gotta go. Threaten 187, kill me, my parents, my dog. Let's do it. I'm gonna call you bluff. I'm not telling women to do that because I haven't been in that situation. I have left out of some relationships with no regret, and I wasn't scared to do it. However, no one is more important than you. Nobody's life is more important than your life. Value your life. Whatever career you're trying to pursue, if it's meant for you to pursue it, it's going to happen. Because what God got for you, can't no man take away. So sometimes you have to be willing to walk away. Like I said, sometimes it sounds good, it's not. I could go on and on. That's my final thought.
My final thought would be, especially for the younger women, and I know this is easier said than done because we typically we start to figure it out once we hit them 30s and up, but really, really, really work on that self-esteem and your self-worth. Because when you have high self-esteem and high self-worth, you don't allow people to abuse you. And this doesn't say that a person won't try you or attempt to do it, because you're still going to have some ignorant people out there that will try, but they'll have one time and that's it. It'll just be that one time because you know what your self-worth is about and how much you mean to yourself and your value, that you wouldn't allow it to get to a second or third or fourth time. You'd be out, So be mindful of what business or direction you want to go into, because some industries are very detrimental for your health. And if you don't have the right circle or team around you to protect you from it, it's very easy for you to fall victim into it. This is why you see a lot of childhood stars end up becoming a very different person as they head into adulthood. Orlando, or they become they want to unalive themselves, or in other situations, or they get comfortable pimping themselves or being turned out, so be mindful of that. Whatever industry you decide to move into, study it and have that team. I guess this is why I understand how some come into the industry with their parents, because their parents is like, if I'm here, nothing's happening. And that's not always the case, we know, but a lot of times they intervene or try to block that person from doing anything so that they don't have those kind of stories. Cassie deserved to have somebody intervene and protect her when she first stepped into that business at a very young age. And she didn't have that. And there were other people around that was trying to kind of drop little nuggets to tell on what was happening, but it was quietly being swept under the rug. 50 mentioned it. Wale mentioned it. Different people. Kid Cudi. Different people, but it was being swept under the rug because this person had power, Be mindful of dating somebody older. We said it on an episode prior when we had gentlemen on there. They said to the young ladies, leave these old niggas alone. There is a reason why it was stated, because a lot of old niggas understand the control and manipulation that can happen to someone who is very young, who hasn't seen life yet. Be mindful, be very careful, and ask yourself, why does a 30 plus or 40 plus year old man really want to be with someone who's barely 20 or in their 20s? Why would he want that? Ask yourself that. Keep that in the back of your mind, Can
I say one more thing? There's a saying that I work with DVP, victims of domestic violence and sexual assault for many, many years. And one of the things that I found that was very common is that we were all raised, most of us culturally, you don't get in people's business. That ain't your business. Act like you don't even see it. But when you see something, say something. That is we say it all the time. When you see something, say something. Don't necessarily put yourself in harm's way. But if you can call the police, if you can honk a horn when you pass by somebody that's getting their ass beat, do something. You might save somebody's life. I was surrounded by neighbors who never did anything. So I'm not saying, again, not trying to say put yourself in harm's way, but sometimes just if you can step up for somebody who doesn't have the courage to step up for themselves, anonymously or otherwise, please do that. I'm sorry.
Yep. BGP, please like, share, subscribe to our channel. Let us know what you think of this topic, or if you have any other suggestions, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. And we're out.
Give us a thumbs up.
Bye.